This tutorial video, we are answering a question on cash budgets, and let's see how best we can apply that knowledge on this question. So you have the following information about the second quarter, and then there's the following information that is available from June to September. We have those details and some additional information which we will use as we prepare this budget. Let's just look at the bottom there. Prepare a cash budget for each of the months July to September. So you might be wondering, okay, why have they given us June, but we're just preparing July to September? So we will follow just what they've told us, but as we prepare these budgets, of course, we'll see how best all the additional information will play a role and just putting the knowledge together. So how does a cash budget look is the question first one might ask. So let me show you. So cash budget starts with receipts and payments. So usually what you do is that you handle the receipt side first, then you come and handle the payments. So what things would be found in receipts? Things like sales, cash sales. Mostly that's what we bring in here, like cash that is being received from sales. That's all, because that's the only activity that generates some receipts or money coming into your company. When you look at payments, things like now what you're buying, purchases, wage payouts, other overheads, those things, and other additional costs. So as we go to the question now, have this in mind, so that even as we are preparing the cash budget, you have an idea that, okay, this is how it looks. So they've told us July, August, September. July, August, and September. Just 3 months, just these three. So this is how your columns would be: July, August, September, just like that. Then now you start putting the details accordingly. Let's start with the receipts and see what details. Let's look at the sales. Additional information. Number one, in relation to the sales on top, H Limited sells 10% of its goods for cash. The remainder of customers receive 1 month's credit. So he sells his goods for cash. 10% of his goods are sold for cash. So it's like immediately he sells in a particular month, 10% is recorded as cash sale. Then others are on credit, that they've said 1 month credit. What do they mean by that statement? Meaning, let's say they've got sales in June. When will they show the other portion that was on credit? In the following month. That's what they mean by 1 month's credit. If you buy in June, you will pay when? The next month, July. That's what they mean by 1 month's credit. So, but when you buy, let's say in June, you buy 12.5, meaning what are you recording in June? That's 10% of the transaction. As I said, when 10% is on cash, like immediately when it happens, but the other portion, which is 90, of course, it's on credit, but it will be shown in the next month. So you will see that the credit from June sale will be shown in July. That's what they mean, 1 month's credit, and we'll do that throughout. Let me show you. So you're in the receipt section, as I was mentioning, and then you're dealing with the sales, which fall under the receipt section, and you want to demonstrate what they've explained. 10% of the sales are cash, meaning in that very month when they sell, 10% should be recorded. So we said, let's start with June in a sequential order. June, it was 12,500 total sales figure, but 10% should be recorded. That's what they say as cash sales. So in June, you record. Now, are we going to show June sales here? Of course not. Why? We've been told to prepare a budget from July to September, meaning even though June, yes, we understand it like that, that doesn't mean the 10% has to be shown. No, only July, September. So they are instructed. We'll just follow instructions. But what about the other 90? If 10% is being recorded in the actual month, the other 90 is the one they meant credit. If you saw, credit is allowed for 1 month. They're allowed with 1 month's credit, meaning in the next month, that's when it will be paid fully. So as we said, June sales, they sold 12.5, 10% was recorded in the same June, meaning the other 90, which is on credit, is recorded where? In the next month, which is July, and July is part of our budget. We'll show it. I hope I'm making sense out of what I've said. So we're just going to get 90% of this. So for July, the 90% is 11,250. That is the 1 month's credit showing after a month of sale. That's what they mean. So if they sell in June, the credit part will always be showing the next month. Just remember that. That's what we'll be doing. So even for July, they've told us that okay, in July there was a 13,600 as a sale in July, but they said in the actual month when you sell, a 10% has to be always recorded as a cash sale. So we'll show this cash sale. 10% of 13,600 is that. Then the other 90, when do we show it? The next month, which is August. I hope the sequence is now being understood. So as I was saying, you want to show the 90%, which is from the July sale of 13.6. Now, of course, there's always that portion which is on credits. 10% has already been recorded. Now, what about the credits? It should be in the next month. That satisfies the detail of 1 month's credit. So you find that when you find 90% of 13.6, it will show 2,240 in August. Then what about the other 10%? Now in August equally, what were the sales in August? If you rewind the video, the question had 17,000 sales in August. Meaning what's 10% of 17? 17. You record. The other 90% also has to be shown. Huh? Remember, whenever you just charge the 10%, remember, okay, what about the other 90%? It should be shown in the next month. Just like that. So if you find 90% of 70,000, where do you land? That should give you 15.3. That's your credit part shown. What about September? September sales, how much were they? In September, sales were 16,800. Meaning what's 10% of 16,800? So we can show in this actual month that the sales took place. 10%, 1,680. What about the 90? It will be shown in October, but are we preparing for October? No. So that's how you understand the question. July to September only. So you just show just for these 3 months. So even though it's okay, there's another portion left. I should also show it in October. Yes, in your mind it's October, but what does the question ask you for? Just prepare a budget up to September. So just show from what is happening in these 3 periods. That's all. That's how you work around cash budgets. They are not very difficult. It's just about understanding the language they use. So this is how the receipt section will be done, because it mostly deals with sales and the like, and how you're going to distribute them. So these will be your totals in July, August, and September as of receipt section. Then you just sum up. Done. We can move on to the payments. Payments, we said there are many things here: purchases, wages, overhead costs. So let's look at the question and understand how we're going to equally write the payment section. When you're looking at payments, you've already seen, I'm sure, direct material purchases up there. Those will be considered under payments. As you say, just purchases, that keyword you have to show. So purchases, they've shown you, okay, in June, July, August, and September equally. Now remember, our budget is when? July to September. So they can show you all those months, but you have what in mind, what you're preparing for. Then what next? If we look at the same material purchases, is there any detail that they've told us? Any other additional information? Always whenever you see details, read the additional information. It guides you. Like for sales, you saw that we had to read additional information. 1, to know how to treat sales. So it's very important to read the additional information because they relate to the things you're seeing there. Go to additional information number 2, which says payments to creditors are made in the month following purchase. Have you seen this statement? There's purchase in this statement, and you have material purchases up there, so this is relating to that. And anyway, another keyword is creditors. When you just hear the word creditors, it's purchases they're talking about. So what have they said? Payments to creditors are made in the month following purchase. Okay, a month following purchase. So you buy, for example, in June. Let's start with June, like they are showing us. Meaning, when is that payment supposed to be shown? The month following purchase. Are you understanding the English? Meaning, if you buy in June, when is the payment going to be shown? The following month. That's how you reason on this. So just that language in your set in cash budgets. So these 3,450 in June under material purchases will be shown when? It will be shown in July. And the sequence will be just like that. Even the July figure of 3,780 will be shown where? In August. That sequence will go like that. August, the 2,890 will be shown when? In September. Unfortunately, September one will not be shown. So like right now, you're in the payment section, having known that you're preparing for July, August, and September. You're under the payment section. Then you can just label purchases. Those are the details you'll be putting. What are you recording in July? We said it's 1 month's credit. Okay, they are paid a month after purchases. So we said, like, for example, in June, what they bought in June, it will show in July. So June sales, June purchases will be shown in July. 3450. Please take note of this. It's always the payment is after the month of purchase. So that's how you understand it. Therefore, even July sales were 3780. They will be shown in August. August sales will be shown in September. We said August sales will be shown in September, which is 2890. So let's get that part right. 1 month after purchase, that was shown after. So that's how you represent that information, and you can go to the next details. We can also represent another payment there. Direct wages are 1.3 per month. Per month. So it's like each month will be showing a direct wage payment of 1.3. 1.3. So that statement means, and we'll show it just like this. So you have those 3 months, July, August, and September. Then you just say wages, and they said per month. So it's like each month you have to see that figure, because when they say pay, it's a fixed amount that will be showing each and every month. Done. Represented. It's also under the payments. There's another detail. Then they said, okay, wages are paid as they are incurred. Okay, at least, as we said, whenever you see a detail, always follow up with additional information just to be sure that you've done the right thing. So they are paid as they are incurred. So as a month they incur them, they will be shown in that same month. So that means H, the other one, number 4, H Limited takes 1 month's credit on all overheads. Have we understood this one? H Limited takes 1 month's credit on all overheads. Where are the overheads? That would be the question. So maybe they've put them below. This is what they like doing. Check the next adjustment. Number 5. Production overheads are 3.2 per month. Okay, at least the overheads have started showing. We have production overheads of 3.2 per month. So it's like each month there will be 3.2, 3.2, 3.2. Selling and admin overheads are 1.890 per month. Okay, equally, that's also another figure we'll be seeing. Any other thing on overheads that they've stated? Number 7 says included in the amounts of overhead given above are depreciation charges of 300,000 and 190,000 respectively. What do they mean? In the production one overhead, there's a 300. In the other one, the selling, there's a 190. That's what they mean by respectively, because there are two overheads. The first dip refers to the first overhead mentioned, which was production. The second depreciation of 190 refers to the second overhead mentioned, which was the selling and distribution. Then we just have to do is that we'll demonstrate the same info, but remember that depreciation is supposed to be subtracted from the overhead. This is just some treatment you have to know. Depreciation is subtracted from the overhead. That's dip that is included, so you can just leave the overhead figure itself. So let's represent this info. So even here you would put overhead specifically from production. I'll just put letter P. Then you put it was 32 less dip. There's a dip of 3,000. Remove it. 300,000. Sorry, remove it. I've just debased the last 3 zeros, by the way. Take note of that. So I've removed the last 3 zeros from both this one and this one. I've just removed the last 3 zeros. So when you subtract, it's 29. That's what you record as production each month, because it's like included in those. So production overhead, they said that included in those overheads respectively 300,000 referring to the first one. Production, there's 300 in there, and each month it's that same figure. So you have to keep removing a 300. So that means leaving you with 29 for each month that you're budgeting for, which is July to September. This is what you would show: 29, 29, 29. Done. Selling and distribution, sorry, selling and admin, that one, what are you going to do? Same story. 1,890 is the figure. How much is included in this one? There's a 190 dip in this one. Just subtract, you remain with 17 flat. That's how much will be left for selling, and then you just record it because it's per month. As they said, when you say per month, it's the same figure each month. It's fixed. You're done demonstrating that other overhead. Next detail. The cash balance at the end of June is forecast to be 1235. This figure, we'll come and use it when we're done with everything. I'll show you where it's going to apply. Next, an asset costing 5,600, 5,600,000 will be acquired in September. Okay, so you would say, okay, I want to show this in September, but let's always, when you see a detail, just ensure you read everything. There are times when they would say on adjustment number something this, and then you find on the next one they say something else about that same thing. So just make sure you read everything before you actually work on it. The next one is what H Limited expects to purchase a delivery vehicle in July for 9,870. That's 9,870,000. Capital expenditure is paid 1 month after being incurred. Have you heard this detail? Capital expenditure, what are they referring to? Capital expenditure is buying assets, those same fixed assets that you're buying, motor vehicles, delivery, what? Those are the capital expenditures they refer to. So that's why I said before you do anything, read the other additional informations. You don't know, you might find they're actually referring to what was being talked about. As you can see, in number 9, IX, Roman numeral IX, that's 9. They are talking about an asset costing 5,600,000 in September. But when will this payment be shown? According to the final adjustment, they said that all these things will be shown 1 month. They are paid 1 month after being incurred. That's why this detail is very important. So yes, it's September they are buying it, but when are they paying for it? The next month, 1 month after it's incurred, which is October. Are we budgeting for October? No, so it won't show. That's how you interpret this information. Imagine if you just saw it first hand and you just recorded, you would get it wrong because of not following instructions. The other one, H Limited expects to purchase a delivery vehicle in July for 9,870,000. Equally, it's a capital expenditure. You said buying fixed assets like motor vehicles, delivery, equipment, and the like. This one, it was bought in July, and they said all payments on capital expenditure 1 month after they're incurred. Meaning, if it's July you buy, when are you paying? September. So this one would show at least in September as 9,870,000. So you will just show 9,870,000. I've just been moving the last zeros because of the length of the figures. Yeah, so you show it like that. And what's the detail? It's delivery vehicle. You just go and put delivery the same way it was written. Delivery. And you record. What next? After all your payments have been listed in this manner, sum up all your payments, all of them, sum them up. You get the totals, all the payments, all the payments, all the payments. After you're done, remember there were some receipts which were left up there, right? The ones that you started with, because it's a format, you start with receipts. After receipts, you're going on to the payments. The payments, you've just summed them up. You have their total. On top, you also summed up the total receipts. It will just be a matter of now getting the difference between the two to find what they call a surplus or a deficit. Please just take note one more thing. This figure I put here for the delivery vehicle, it's supposed to be in August, sorry, because it was bought in July, and then that 1 month after it's incurred, it's supposed to be August. Sorry for that. Just take note, it's supposed to be in August. That's why it's supposed to show. Then after that, we can sum up total payments and total receipts. Then the comparison can be made. The differences that we'll be finding from each month's total receipts and payments, the difference that we'll be getting will be what we would call a deficit or surplus. Let me show. Have a look at the cash budget now. Overall, everything we've talked about, how it should be represented, there it is in the statements there. So we said when you sum up the total payments, that's the figure you're seeing under total outflow. Why are we calling this total outflow? Payments is like an outflow of cash. When you're spending, it's outflow. And then total receipts, the one I was saying that you also sum up the receipts, that's total inflows. Receipts is money that is coming in because you're selling. When you sell, money comes through to you. Yeah, so the difference of the total receipts, which is the total inflows, and the difference of the total inflows and total outflow, that difference is what we're calling a surplus or a deficit for each month. Please remember that for each month. So like for example in July, 12,610 was the total inflow. What about the payments that was corresponding in the same month? The payments were 9,350. Therefore, we got a surplus of 3,260. Why are we calling it a surplus? If it comes out positive, it's a surplus because you're subtracting inflow minus outflow. That's the procedure. Always start with inflow minus outflow. Then you will find the answer there. August 13,940 inflow minus what's the outflow in August? 19,550. The difference, it's a negative 5,610. That figure is a deficit. Whenever you get a negative, it's a deficit. And anyway, that's just the interpretation of those figures. Even September, same thing. Then remember that opening balance, we skipped in the additional information that the balance as of June, okay, closing balance as of June was 1,235. That's the figure you're seeing there below. Mind you, me, I'm debasing my zeros. What do I mean by that? I've removed the last 3 zeros. So those are the figures you're just seeing minus those last 3 zeros, but it's same meaning. But the thing is that closing balance of June, the rule is that it will be your opening in July. That's the sequence. That's why you're seeing it in July, the 1, 2, 3, 5 under the detail opening balance, which we add. Always we add opening balance. So when you add opening balance to your surplus or deficit, whatever came out, then you get your closing for each month. So July closed with 4,495. Meaning if you go to August, you're going to open with something. Huh? You open with what closed in July, which was a 4,495, it will open in August, which is that figure now. So the trick is the closing balance in the previous month opens in the next. That's it. And it's added to whatever surplus or deficit that it finds in a given month. And that's how those figures were being found. So this is how you prepare a cash budget, and these are the concepts there.